But before we dig into the Four Horsemen, you had a pretty eventful weekend this past weekend. You were doing a little limousine riding and jet flying yourself, right?
I don't know if you call it limousine riding or jet flying, but I was doing a lot of stuff. I was very excited about this weekend being able to go to three different events. I went to the Legends of the Ring in Monroe Township, New Jersey on Saturday afternoon of this past week. Then that night I went to the Warriors of Wrestling independent wrestling show in Staten Island. And then the very next day on Sunday, I was at Bud Carson's Pro Wrestling World in Allentown, Pennsylvania, signing autographs, reconnecting with people, and had a great time. My first experience, Conrad, with independent wrestling. I talked to Cornette about that. Cornette said, "You'd never gone to an independent wrestling show before?" The answer is no, I never had. I tried to stay away from that once I left WCW. And I'm telling you, when I first got there, I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? But I had a wonderful time. I sincerely really did. Those guys are hardworking guys. I'm not going to mention any names because I'll get them wrong. But I know the two guys in the main event, and I need to mention all the guys that were there. So I'll get all the names wrong. But the two guys in the main event, one was Jason Karloff, I believe. And they both came to me and asked me my opinions on the match. They were very humble. They were very appreciative of my work. And it was a great 2 days to stroke my ego, if nothing else, make a little bit of money. Plus, I got to meet some fine lady wrestlers.
I knew this was coming. What? I just know, in 2017, these indie shows, there's more women now than there used to be. And I thought, boy, if they've got a makeup chair, Tony will find it.
Well, two great young Canadian wrestlers, Caitlin Diamond and Casey Spinelli. We became good friends, traveling back and forth. They're gorgeous women, and they can work. I mean, they really can. And then the Twisted Sisters, Holly Dead and Thunder Rosa. Holy snakes. These girls, I'm telling you right now, these girls had a match against a couple of guys. One was Jason B., who's like the runs Warriors of Wrestling. I hope I got your name right, Jason. I'm sorry if I didn't. Who runs Warriors of Wrestling. They kicked those two guys' ass. Now, they lost to them, but those two girls did things that I'd never seen women wrestlers do before because I'd been out of the business for so long. I remember back, and I talked to Cor Bauer about this. I remember back when it wasn't like that, and Medusa was the only really tough girl in there, and she didn't really have anybody tough to work with exception maybe Bull Nakano who came in. But now it's pretty apparent women's wrestling has changed a great deal. So I love those girls, all four of them. Love them. LUV them. And I appreciate all that they've done. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Well, and we're going to have a lot of fun on July 9th at Three Links in Dallas. We had a blockbuster announcement last week, and now everybody's excited. The super show you've always wanted. What happens when Bruce Pritchard joins Tony Schiavone on a stage? Well, they're going to talk about Tony's year in the WWF. We're going to talk about SummerSlam 1989. And, of course, we've got to touch on some Monday Night Wars. But the hits keep on coming, Tony. I haven't even told you this, but I have a surprise lined up for you and you alone. And I'm not going to give you a hint, but I am going to say that Klondike Bill would be proud. And it's going to happen on stage with a live audience. And this is not a huge venue, so we encourage you, snatch your tickets up right now. You can do that at WHWLive.com. And we want to mention that this is the most affordable a ticket around, really, because most of the time, whenever you go to some of these, signings and autograph sessions, you have to pay an entry fee, and then you have to go ahead and pay for a picture, and then you pay for an autograph. Well, this is VIP for everybody, man. There's not different ticket levels. So come on in, join us, 1 o'clock. The show's going to start at 3, but we're going to hang out for 2 hours beforehand. It's going to be one heck of an afternoon in Dallas. It's July 9th. Pick up your tickets right now. Bruce Pritchard, Tony Schiavone, all things WWF, WCW, and the only place to get your tickets is WHWLive.com. And you can still go ahead and cruise over and enjoy a phenomenal pay-per-view main event of Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire in Dallas. So don't miss it, WHWLive.com. I expect in the next 2 weeks this will sell out. So hurry, grab your tickets right now, WHWLive.com. Anything else you want to mention about that shenanigan that we have lined up?
I'm really intrigued now about what you got lined up for me, because if you said something about Klondike Bill, I mean, you're not going to use a kielbasa on me, are you?
I'm not going. There will be no kielbasas will be injured in the filming of this podcast. And I should mention we're not actually filming it. We get lots of questions about that. Are you going to record it for the podcast? No, we are not. The only way to get this experience is our live show. So come join us in Dallas, July 9th.
I would like to add, and I got some names wrong, very briefly, the guys that I worked with on the road this weekend. Joey B. Is the man in charge of Warriors of Wrestling. I got to meet Darius Carter, Logan Black, Jason Karloff, Chris Romano, Chris Steeler, Matthew Ryan Shapiro, Rob Blatt, and, of course, I was hanging out with the genius Lanny Poffo, which in itself is an event.
Did you ask him?
I'd asked him before.
But the event you're talking about, did you see the event? Did you have a ringside seat?
No, that's an urban legend.
No, it's not. Peggy Lathan, who listens to this show and is one of the old Mid-Atlantic super fans, you probably know her.
I know Peggy very well.
Well, she told me a story, and she saw Lanny go one-on-one with the Great One.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't think it was proper. I mean, when the fans are coming by, I didn't turn to Lanny and say, "Hey, Lanny, is it true?" I remember back in the old WWF days, that one year I was there, and he was the genius back then. I had asked him. He looked at me and smiled. He said, "That is a story that has been around for a long time. I'm not so sure I can confirm it or not." And he had a smile on his face, which told me he just kind of confirmed it. So Lanny was there. I was there with Damaged 365 Radio. Our thanks to Kevin S. Nasta, Jennifer, and John, and the staff there for a great weekend. So I just want to get those names out of all the people I met. And I absolutely love independent wrestling now. I really do. I appreciate the guys and girls busting their ass for what looks like not much money, you know?